Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, January 21st. You might see double Twitter posts or Facebook posts until the 31st. I implemented a if this then that script that hopefully will work to continue the announcements of when videos come out. That way, if those are the ways that you're getting notifications of when videos go live, you can still get it. I figured it would be better to double it up than to try to do it exactly on the 31st when YouTube says it's going to stop doing that automatically. So apologies for the next 10 days if you get double posts. 2 games with Hunter or 1 game? Let's see. I kind of would prefer to play Hunter, but honestly my Warlock deck is super good. Jeez, I did not realize my Warlock deck is also the only character that is not at rank 60. I did not realize that that was the case. So I don't know if you even get a reward for that. But yeah, a few more Warlock games. Starting a little late, kind of lucky I'm even here at all today. My insomnia keeps just pushing me always to want to sleep all day from like 6 in the morning till 10 in the evening, and frankly just about nothing I do consistently locks in away from that. In all honesty, this is probably my entire time in school also was like that. Very often I would be half awake, tired, cranky, certainly, but I'm not sure the crankiness of being in school was really related to sleep deprivation so much as just I didn't want to be there. So if I was going to be true to my truest self, I guess I suppose I would start streaming at like midnight, 2 in the morning, but that would be kind of ridiculous. And I don't know if I'd get any real consistency there either. Yeah, I really wouldn't. Let's see.
The light protects me.
So at the Friday, suppose very related to the insomnia. Friday, I said I was done with the Stone Block 2 modern Minecraft footage, and kind of just rage quit that. Yeah, it's still as I'm watching other Minecraft players play Stone Block 1, it seems like Stone Block 2 is in beta or something. It's just missing half of the things, or it felt like it was missing half of the mods that even Stone Block 1 had, which seems like extremely odd. Let's see. No, I'm just gonna play this and then do this, and that shouldn't be able to kill that. So on the weekend mostly I just slept. I did watch Carmen Sandiego, the new Carmen Sandiego on Netflix. This is only ever so slightly video game related, because this new Carmen Sandiego cartoon is not, as far as it seems reasonable to believe, set in a video game world like the previous cartoon, or like the live action TV show, or like the games. So instead there is this white hacker named Player, that in previous cartoons the player was a character that was outside of the world that Carmen Sandiego is. In this one, it seems very much like that is not the case. And clearly what they did, what Netflix did here was a kind of cheap cop-out. Well, it wasn't a cheap cop-out, it was just a sleazy move designed to make it impossible to search for the previous Deke cartoon that aired on Fox probably a decade and a half ago for Carmen Sandiego, because they named two characters that work with Carmen Sandiego, Zack and Ivy, the two main protagonists in the previous cartoon were named Zack and Ivy. They were brother and sister. They are brother and sister in both versions. The truth, though, is the animation of the Zack and Ivy in the new cartoon is awful compared to the Deke cartoons. Now, arguably, I think you could make a good argument that the older sister, Ivy, in the old Carmen Sandiego cartoon was animated too much with a, well, with slightly too much visual appeal, because it's a very, she's very fashionable, whereas the Ivy in this, in the new cartoon is like a more plus size lady that has red hair. Both of them have red hair, Zack and Ivy in the new cartoon, and it just looks horrible compared to the brunette hair of Carmen Sandiego. Zack in the new cartoon is basically doing like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He is like a idiot that talks about food a lot, and both Zack and Ivy kind of disappear halfway through the series, and then they appear in like the last episode, and they're just like small town crooks that Carmen Sandiego gets to work for her. In this new cartoon, Carmen Sandiego is not a mature woman who is the ringleader of Vile. Instead, she is the hero who is actually going against Vile, even though she was trained by Vile. So they've turned her into the hero, which many people have complained about. The bigger thing, though, is that they turn her into a kid, and like, this is a cartoon for 7-year-olds, but they turn her into a kid that really doesn't accomplish a lot by herself, and it really isn't that smart, and she just relies on gadgets. So they've kind of made her ineffective. Acme barely shows up in the cartoon. Well, it shows up, but it barely does anything. There really isn't any force that is actually has even a slight chance of catching Carmen Sandiego from the perspective of her being known to the world as a crook. Instead, it is 100% a series that is built around the idea of Carmen Sandiego has a chip on her shoulder against Vile, and thus she is specifically trying to steal from the bad guys, which inevitably means that the same 5 children thieves that were in the same class as Carmen Sandiego are sent out on these missions, in which they fail because Carmen stops them eventually. Carmen and friends stop them. The first 2 episodes are setting up the story and feel very much like it's just going to be a story-focused show that doesn't really try to do anything educational. And then the third episode throws in like these brief 2-minute educational scenes that just feel odd that they're there, and then they kind of disappear again too. And it's weird that I'm saying a lot of things disappear in the Carmen Sandiego series on Netflix, because it literally is only nine episodes and they're about 30 minutes long. So they kind of failed immediately to I'm gonna just keep playing this, and I guess we'll go up unless I have an odd paladin or something to play. No. So yeah, it kind of immediately fails to make enough episodes. So unless season 2 came out a week from now, which it won't, it will be a year to 6 months before it happens. It's just like a kind of dumb idea. I would have held back. The previous Carmen Sandiego cartoon went for 4 seasons and had 40 episodes. By the way, I did some research, and that pretty much causes this new series to already be 1 episode shorter per season than the cartoon. Let's see. Tragic Master, hey Rydo, everybody, good luck in the games. I spent 11,000 dust on cards yesterday. Shenanigan cards. Yeah, is there anything else to say about the Carmen Sandiego cartoon? Unfortunately, I would say it doesn't feel like there's a high chance that this is going to be the movement towards a new game series, and I'm not sure there ever really could have been another new Carmen Sandiego game that would have really made sense. Because almost all of it, I think, plays to the nostalgia of a pretty old gamer these days. So, yeah. And I don't know how you make a Carmen Sandiego video game where Carmen Sandiego is the hero, and still try to make it educational, or maybe you give up on the idea of it being educational. Who knows? Yeah. The bigger problem with all the Carmen Sandiego games, and this is what you'll run into if you try and go and play the original game, is it's referencing things about countries that don't even exist anymore. So it's not even like current history so much. So yeah, the wear and time with Carmen Sandiego series might work a little bit better, because then you could lock down into a specific time frame, but then that is also still just requiring people to learn history, and arguably history is not a big focus in education. As someone who coincidentally knows at least 2 people who got degrees in college in history and then have done nothing with them, it is only a field of interest if you're going to be a history teacher in either a college or a high school. And usually they will, in the United States at least, have coaches for some sports field do double duty to teach history because that's how little they care about it. History or just general knowledge about other countries. Forgot the word for that. I want to say
what to do.
It's not scholastics.
What to do.
So yeah, what else? I did do some scheduling, so Minecraft is scheduled. The only thing left to schedule is a handful of probably a month and a half of more Hearthstone episodes. Okay, if I do this and then this. There we go. So the next thing I need to do, I suppose, is I guess I'm gonna try and squeeze in a playthrough of Air Memories of Old, because it turned out I already owned that game. I speculated that 2019 would be the year of lots of video game companies going out of business. I think Fulbright was the name of the company that made Air Memories of Old. So yeah, that'll be the next thing I start to cover. I was really surprised that Stone Block really did take nearly, I think it was 50 hours. Like Stoneblock 2 was actually more than 50 hours. It was probably closer to 60 hours because I went over many times. Almost every episode I went at least 20 minutes over. So I've kind of in rapid succession went through a lot of time playing that and making all the footage. Now, in scheduling this, I've decided to stop being so strict on let's see, let's try Spell Hunter. Yeah, I'm gonna stop being so strict on the time slots, so I'm putting Stoneblock in what would have been my AAA time slot after Borderlands 2. Since I really only have 2 time slots that I'm filling in right now, there's kind of less reason to stick to that, and instead, when I finish something, just schedule it, put it wherever it fits. That might be something that I decide to hold on to as a concept if I ever can get back to the point where I have like three things besides Hearthstone airing every day. It might make it slightly easier, because there have been brief times where I didn't really want to play a AAA game. I would have preferred to play like a point-and-click adventure game, but the point-and-click adventure time slot was full. I have Assassin's Creed 3 already installed, so I suppose that was my intention to play that pretty soon. I have run into this issue where I am a lot of times now installing a game after I beat a game and then playing a different game and then coming back and saying, nah, I really don't want to play that. I suppose at this point I still am trying to play all the Assassin's Creed games and catch up. Because there really is no other series that's still going is such a big deal and has so much to do. So let's just start covering the news, I guess. TechRaptor has an article. The Jump Force open beta has been delayed and 2 more characters have been shown. So it's Dai, D-A-I from Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai, and Jotaro Kojo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They also put out what I think is going to be the cover art, and I saw somebody complaining about the cover art not having Ichigo from Bleach on the cover. If it is the picture I'm looking at, that is actually the cover art. They have Goku from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Well, I guess in this case it would be Dragon Ball Z or later. They have Luffy from One Piece, and they have what I think is Naruto, but might be Boruto. I think it's Naruto. Now, the answer to why Ichigo from Bleach would not be on the front of that is kind of simple. The One Piece and Naruto in some form or fashion, and Dragon Ball in some form or fashion, are all still ongoing series, whereas Bleach has wrapped up or is on the very edge of wrapping up.
Job's done.
I don't know why I did that. That was gonna kill them all anyways. Same could be said for several other characters that will show up. So, not much of a story there, and I'm not sure we've really even gotten to the point where they've confirmed that Jump Force is actually coming to the West. So, we don't have a ton of news today, by the way, so we're gonna maybe try and go for an hour-long episode if we can burn through this. I would also like to point out that some of the games that I said I was going to put on the fall list, and this is just going to be true going forward. Some of the games I said that I was going to put on the fall list, I actually, when I turned around and started looking at them, they already had 20 reviews and they were already mixed or negative. So it was kind of pointless at that point to say, well, I'll put this on the fall list when I can just look at it and consider it like I would when I did a fall list cleanup and say, actually, no, this should leave the fall list. That doesn't happen too often though, because most people, most new games don't get even 20 reviews very quickly. Some do. There are an outlier of maybe 20 or 30%. We have a game here on Steam called Sung Woo King vs. Robot, which I believe this little pixel here is supposed to be the Monkey King, which, yeah, here, Monkey King on Cloud Nimbus with his staff. That story gets used over and over again, and part of that I think does come directly from Chinese censorship, because China does not want anything that they don't consider culturally relevant. So any new ideas, any new stories, any new concepts can't really be done, so they end up doing the Twilight of the Three Kingdoms and the Monkey King stories, and it's the same 4 or 5 stories that China believes are the greatest novels ever written, and yet the closest translation of the Monkey King that has reached the rest of the world is the Japanese version of it to make Dragon Ball Z. Well, Dragon Ball 1, really. Just Dragon Ball. So, if it truly is that great of a story, I don't know why it's not been translated more or better. This game, Sung Wukong vs. Robot, is $2.99. It's English, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese. What it looks like though is just an NES like platformer. It's zoomed out even really far for an NES style looking game. So yeah, there's nothing here that would want me to put that on the fall list. Next we have a game on Steam called Epic Adventures La Jangada. Let's see. This looks like it's a hidden object game for $2.39. Yeah, it is a hidden object game. It's cheaper than most, but I'm kind of done playing hidden object games. So yeah, I'm willing to miss pretty much any new hidden object game.
To my side.
Right. How are we gonna do this? You hit that, you hit that. You attack here. Do we want to play a little control, or do we want to just do a bunch of damage? See, because I think if I do this, and then this, and then I do this, I think I can then do this, 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 do that, and do that.
Job done.
There we go. Next we have a game on Steam called Wide Cross, which looks like it's a player versus player game. Top down, I was not expecting that. I thought it would have been a first person shooter game. Strategy, early access, two different early access tags. I'd like Steam to fix its tag system a little bit better. Maybe in the back end it does work better that way. It does combine the two early access tags into one, but this is discounted to $5.39 and is multiplayer only. So while Wide Cross might be a good game, probably isn't. I've never heard of this developer. It's certainly not something I could ever play or would want to play. Here we go. I suppose I only need 2 daily quests done today. We can save one for Wednesday. Let's see. Even cost or battle cries. Which one was like closer to getting done? I think I was closer to getting battle cries done, and I kind of want to play Warlock. It probably would take me 30 to 100 more games to get Warlock to level 60, but no, I'd like to see that happen.
Gul'dan versus Morgan.
Speaking of making maximum ranks, I now on Clash Royale am at rank 13, the maximum rank king level you can be, which certainly took a year or two to get to that. But there's still a lot of things that can be upgraded, and without having your cards at the max upgrade level, you really can't compete above the max level. To be fair, I would say that I've made a lot more progress just kind of barely on a daily instance playing Clash Royale than I have on Hearthstone. People are, I think, a lot more excited to put money in and practice and get good at Hearthstone than they are Clash Royale, where it seems like, if I was to guess, Clash Royale is just not taking that seriously, which is fine. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article. Compile Heart launches Moero or Moero, I bet it's probably pronounced Moero Chronicle H countdown website. I believe Compile Heart is one of the companies that works with Idea Factory for the Super Dimensional Neptunia series, or the Neptunia series. So, if it's titled H right now, that is an indication in Japanese that it's an ecchi game, an adult game. The screenshot I'm seeing is also showing a anime girl with a large bust right on her cleavage, and when you press the refresh button, the cleavage changes to even more revealing bra. Moero Chronicle originally launched for the PS Vita in 2014 in Japan. An English version of the game was released in Southeast Asia in May 2015, and a PC version was released August 2017. So let's look at the Steam version and see if I can show it off. Yeah, once I did some more research and started to realize that the Neptunia series and the Compile Heart series and the Idea Factory series of games all kind of revolve around being RPGs that are full of the anime girl cheesecake, so you're getting a lot of cleavage and such. I don't know how that really would make it into my schedule as far as the type of game I cover, because there's concerns about YouTube demonetizing things, and then there's also concerns about having to self-censor. See, I'm watching the original Moero Chronicle, and it seems like it's a bunch of anime girls that lose their clothing. Now, if it's using the moe, that's cute. Cute, generally speaking, slightly younger looking anime characters, and that's definitely in line with what I'm seeing. And this game on Steam is only 54% positive in the last 30 days, where overall it's 72% positive. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And it looks like it is just a dungeon crawler game series, so not even really an RPG. So a new dungeon crawler from Japan is barely actual news.
So many possibilities.
There was something else.
Your magic shall not save you.
Free me! Free me!
Oh, yeah, something about that. What was that thing that I wanted to mention? Okay, yes, that's it. Yeah, YouTube is being its normal self of being inconsistent on enforcement. That's not really the news, but slightly related to that, since YouTube is also making it getting rid of the ability to just automatically announce videos on YouTube, on Twitter and Google Plus. Like, this is just out of spite because they're shutting down Google Plus. The Twitch has also seemingly implemented at the same time. It seems like this is a consistent thing. So the website that I had found to automatically upload my videos when they upload to YouTube to Twitch is shutting down too. It seems like both on January 31st. I'll do if I can get around to it, I'll do a quick search to see if I can find another service that will do the same thing. But it seems like Twitch is trying to stop that. And so that kind of puts my YouTube channel in a weird position where the only reason I was putting things up on Twitch is maybe to see if some people would follow on Twitch, but I mean, getting people to follow on Twitch seems ridiculous. Getting people to watch videos on demand on Twitch doesn't seem like it's something that actually happens. So what it kind of boils down to is that I was never 100% sure that Twitch was even saving my video on demands, so I'm not sure if like the first episode that I ever made is backed up anymore on Twitch than it was on YouTube, and so either service or both could probably delete my channels and I'd just lose all those videos. The only thing I can really do is I need hard drives, like hard drive space is what it boils down to. Is I would need a massive amount of hard drive space so that I could have personal backups of those videos. And yeah, these are the problems of being a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, is that you're just not, if you make as much footage as I do, you're just not in a safe position to ever keep it. Right. Well, I could stay here and work on this rank 60. I really don't need to. So I'm gonna just move over to the European account. It's funny, it's probably directly related to how tired I am, whether I feel like a day is a sleepy day or not. This Monday feels pretty laid back and sleepy. A lot of the United States is probably feeling that too because of winter conditions, snowing people in. But yeah, this just kind of feels laid back. I don't actually want to play this because this is a lot harder to do than even this. So let's re-roll. And yeah, Shaman. Shaman. Okay. Here we go. Play. Next we have a game on Steam called Hello Emoji, Drawing to Solve Puzzles. It looks like it's kind of a basic cell phone game. doesn't really feel like too much of a game anyways. I guess you're just drawing lines and then running physics over it. Anytime I see a game like this really feels like it's just a first year physics project, like game physics programming project, not a real game. This is discounted to 59 cents. Yeah, this isn't making it to the fall list. TechRaptor has this article, and I don't want to get into this too much. It says, update, streamer H-Bomber guy raises over $230,000 for trans charity. I've heard a lot of it. He was playing, he played 57 hours of Donkey Kong 64 to achieve 101% category and raise over $340,000 in charity. The Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez appeared on the stream, after which a number of famous celebrities and gaming personalities also joined in. Let's see, I'm reading this directly from TechRaptor just to see who they think are the famous people here. Josh Sawyer, the director of Fallout New Vegas, The Guardian journalist Owen Jones, YouTube personality Natalie Wynn, actress Mara Wilson and Rebecca Heineman, Atari 2600 Space Invaders champions who worked as a programmer on games like The Bard's Tale 3. Also Jim Sterling, but I see he's not listed because he's not a big guy, I guess, in comparison. I would say there's some issues certainly with one person running a charity. First of all, he's not raising well, oddly, he barely raised more than what the priced matched amount of Good Mythical Morning raised for cancer, and they ran their campaign for quite a long time. So yeah, I guess he raised more that way, but compared himself to Awesome Games Done Quick or Summer Games Done Quick, both of which happened like a week or two ago. This was a very poorly timed, financially speaking, charity idea, and it's a very specific cause. It's a very SJW-y cause. It seems like, or at least that's how a lot of people have been categorizing it. That this whole charity was done out of spite to just irritate not even like right-wing people, I think is what I'm hearing. It's actually to spite a branch of the LGBT group called the Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists, or TERFs for short, that I guess they feel they're kind of anti-trans gendered people. The thing here is you've got politics mixing into this. You've got a lot of people who've played a lot of identity politics mixing into this. But in the end, whether you hate Jim Sterling and you hate SJWs or not, in the end I would much be happier personally for them to always run charities like this and try to do good, instead of doing the one thing that most people complain about SJWs doing, which is sitting on their butts and complaining about things and not really doing anything other than taking outrage. I will say, just from a personal appearance, this guy in the one screenshot that I'm seeing, H-Bomber guy, doesn't look great for his stream. His, like, he's in this dark room with just kind of a basic black sleeveless tank top shirt. I don't know if it's a tank top shirt. I only see the straps, but yeah, he doesn't seem like he did enough setup. It doesn't seem like this whole thing is enough setup. Maybe next year he'll invite more people and maybe work together. Alright, let's see. The money went to a transgender rights charity called Mermaids UK. Seems like it was somewhat a UK-centric group of people supporting it, and it's kind of oddly underreported, which I wouldn't be surprised that, because there is that slight split there between the people who are video game journalists that are at least in part aligned with the trans exclusionary radical feminists more than they are in line with transgendered people. Let's see. Do I want to do anything? Not really. Anyways, moving on. There's probably a lot more to the story too. I just didn't particularly care to even dig deeper into that. The video game world does need probably a couple more charity streams, but Summer Games Done Quick and the European Speedrunners Association are the two ones that seem to have figured out how to get a lot of money with courting the least amount of controversy. And it really hasn't been a case of anybody else replicating that idea. I guess Desert Bus for Hope might be the second best group that raises money. And then I would say maybe the Zeldathon, which is just run by a YouTuber group, might be the third most successful. And YouTube tried to get into that idea where you would stream directly on YouTube and have buttons that donates to charity, but I think it's locked behind having a certain number of subscriptions in the first place. It's certainly not something I think I'd ever do, because I just don't think I could stream for more than 3 hours before I'd have to take a break. And honestly, I don't think I really want to put myself through that effort. If I had 4 or 5 people I could tag team in and out and we were playing something like that would be a great example of, hey, let's play the Final Fantasy series. Let's do something crazy. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. PT Into Dreams is the latest effort to recreate the playable teaser.
Warriors of the frozen waste.
So PT in Dreams. So I think Dreams is a game that is not really a game as much as it is a system that allows you to recreate or create your own game. So like a week ago, we saw somebody had rebuilt PT in Unreal, and now we're seeing somebody rebuilt it inside of a game. I wonder if this is just a case of people are kind of nostalgia for PT. In all honesty, I don't think this is a better delivery than what was given before in the Unreal version.
Job done. Get down!
So, yeah, I don't think that recreating it inside of Dreams was a smarter move. And this is kind of not really a story worth mentioning. Like, at this point, it's pretty old hat. It's gonna get down to the point where everybody is recreating PT as their third-year project in computer programming, in the same way that everybody programs Pong or Blackjack or something like that. I don't know if that's really the case, but Alright, I guess we're making progress there. Next we have a game on Steam called Strange Telephone, which looks weird, certainly. It looks like it might be a Yumi Nikki style of weird pixel graphics horror game.
Your soul shall be mine.
I don't want to just immediately write this off because I know this publisher, and this does look like there might be something here to this. Like, so it seems like you dial yourself into different places. 2D adventure game in which the player explores strange worlds created with merely 6 digits and has multiple endings. So this might be good. It's already rated positively with 14 reviews, so I'm going to put this on the follow list. Now it's asking for $4.49 discounted. So I'm not sure. And I know AG Playism is a Japanese company, or at least I'm pretty sure it is, so that indicates to me that it's probably a little bit better than... Oops. Missed out there. But yeah, I'll put that on the follow list.
Greet you.
Let's do this. Let's see, Gamatsu has an article, Dusk Diver gameplay trailer. I put this on I opened this tab because I wanted to see the gameplay trailer because I don't know what Dusk Diver is. It is coming out for the Switch and PC in 2019 though. So I'm gonna watch this trailer. Its thumbnail is a older anime woman in a sweater with relatively large cleavage, but not huge by any means. It kind of has like a Persona feel to it. Yeah, it looks like it's a Persona-style RPG game. With a group of people that are doing something together. So far, seems like maybe this is the standard. You go into a virtual world and fight bad guys. Yeah, and they have a bunch of fighting moves. Like hand-to-hand combat seems to be the focus.
Job's done.
Yeah. Yep. The fact that this is coming to PC gives it a good chance to make it to my wish list, because the main problem with Persona is it never came to PC. So yeah. And it's being developed by Jera, J-E-R-A Game Studio, and published by JFI Games. Neither one of those companies immediately sounds familiar.
What to do?
Why does this... What is going on here? How did he reduce... Oh, that's just till next time. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article, Dragon Ball Game Project Z Action RPG, quote, depicts a never-before-expressed nostalgic and new Dragon Ball world. And it shows a render of Goku and Gohan from early Dragon Ball Z. Let's see. No talk here about what systems it's going to come out on. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually is a cell phone game or something. Alright. How are we going to do this? Might as well hit this guy. Might as well play this. And we might as well do that. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article. Conception Plus details new features, removes touch communication. So let's see, new features added to the PlayStation 4 remaster. They're talking about the thing I think that's important to mention here from my perspective, or this ongoing story about the PlayStation,
I wonder.
is the touch communication modes, the silly groping modes that have been in games like this for a while. And this is really particularly funny in the idea of Conception as a game, because the entire story of the game of Conception is that you're supposed to sleep with all these women to help conceive these star children in the future. Let's see. So on this article of what they listed out, 6 of 7 points. Number 6 is, while there were plans to implement the quote touch communication feature that allows players to touch the Star Maiden's body during conversations, as it was in the PSP version, we're sorry to say it ultimately had to be removed due to various circumstances. We sincerely apologize to all those looking forward to it. We will continue trying to get this implemented. And almost without a doubt, that is direction coming, that is instruction and direction coming directly from Sony. and that is why it was removed.
Job's done.
May have done that wrong. Yeah. See, the weird thing with these touch communication modes, if you haven't been following this story as it was popping up here and there alongside Steam's own issues, is that like Switch and Nintendo seem to be cool with it, but Sony not, because Sony decided to move their offices to California, and so it's now basically a completely different company that these Japanese developers are dealing with. So it's a little surprising that Conception has been announced for a Western release. I'm fairly certain it has, but I don't know what quality of game you're gonna get. And inherently, if your game is one of these games that is selling itself on sex, and that's pretty much what Conception Plus is, like, let's not beat around the bush. The idea that you're getting a worse quality product for some stupid censorship reason is not going to go over well. So I wouldn't be surprised if that this was dumb. What I just did here, that was dumb. Because this guy's just going to end the turn and kill everything on the field. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people don't buy Conception Plus now because it's missing the features. And the developers of these style of games know that, so you're going to have to, at a certain point, decide to go to PC or some other platform to just have a chance of making a better releasing an uncensored version of your game that you want to release. Moving on, GameIndustry.biz has an article. Layoffs hit NCSoft's Iron Tiger Studios. Publisher confirms in an undisclosed, I think that would be undisclosed, number of layoffs at the San Mateo developer. Iron Tiger was founded in California by NCSoft in November 2015 with a plan to have 3 teams working in parallel on original and franchise-based mobile games. However, NCSoft confirmed the GamesBeat that part of Iron Tiger Studios has been laid off, though the exact portion hasn't been disclosed. Let's see. It says, there's a quote here: I can confirm that NCSoft is reshaping Iron Tiger Studios and is in the process of transitioning development to a third party for a mobile title. The game has not been cancelled, but neither the project nor the external developer have been identified at this time.
I wonder.
Mushroom power!
So whatever the mobile game that they were working on, which GameIndustry.biz seems not to know, seems like it's been shipped off to India or China, which is okay, I guess. I mean, no, it's not okay to lay off people, but it seems pretty typical in the video game world. Moving on, GameIndustry.biz has another article. Star Control Origins restored to Steam amid legal battle with the series creators. We kind of talked about this before. Let's see. Stardock unable to confirm whether the sci-fi title will return to good old games after the takedown notice. So, this is an interesting case, certainly, in which we're probably for the first time getting a real taste of what it would look like to fight a DMCA takedown notice, and it seems like Steam is willing to fight them also on this, because Steam is allowing it to go back up. I assume, or maybe this is just a case. I mean, it really could just be a case of if you get a DMCA takedown notice for one video on YouTube, for example, and YouTube takes that down, and then you take that exact same video and you put it up on a different channel, is that just a different incident that requires another DMCA notice? This may just be a case of whack-a-mole. Although at this point, if that really is the case, then they would have just issued another DMCA, and I think this is gonna just run directly into evidence in the court case. Let's see, yeah, this is basically the same story as before.
Thrall versus Gul'dan.
Your soul
Let's see,
shall
1
be
second, I'm gonna
mine
drink some water.
for Doomhammer.
Not really getting any shame in victories. Yep. Gamma Sutra has an article. Splash Damage has released the full design document for Dirty Bomb. Which a design document in this case is a 300-page document that was initially given to those who backed the game on Kickstarter, so I'm not sure how those Kickstarter backers are going to feel about that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if a design document is really the same when you're giving it out for public use. Like, it probably has a little bit more polish to it than if it was just for internal use. However, it is also worth remembering that Dirty Bomb is this free-to-play that they shut down and stopped developing on. Maybe they didn't shut it down, but they just stopped adding anything to it very early, so it's not in any way a successful product. So I don't know really who's too interested in it in the first place. That's kind of barely news. Yeah, it's like, here's our failed project's design document. We put it out for everybody to see. Okay, maybe a game developer, maybe a video game programmer student out there, or game development student out there could read that design document, and it might be slightly educational, but I mean, at best you're saying here's the concepts and ideas that led to a failed game, and that's pretty much all you can take from it. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Rocket Golf, which doesn't really look too much like a golf game as much as is an asset flip where you have a rocket launcher and you shoot giant golf balls with a rocket launcher. Which at that point you're just playing pool, and why the silliness at that point? Yeah, this is again like somebody playing around with a physics project. $9.99. Somebody trying to figure out game physics and releasing it as if it was a finished product.
Free me!
There we go. So next we have a game on Steam called Pale Man, which looks like a low-effort platformer for 59 cents. And you can see there's 83 games in this bundle for $10.92. English, Russian, so it's probably a Russian troll game. Named Pale Man almost certainly because it's trying to look like Pac-Man, or be confused for Pac-Man, although it really wouldn't be. I assume it's named that way, and it isn't named that way just to I don't know, attack people with pale skin. Moving on, we have a game called Greed 2 Forbidden Experiments, which is another hidden object game from the same publisher as the previous hidden object game, so maybe they're getting into the business of flooding Steam with hidden object games too. This one's a little bit more expensive, discounted even at $4.68. And yeah, still not really interested in playing hidden object games, so yeah, still not really interested in putting that on the follow list. Gamma Sutra has an article. Microsoft says that its game streaming service has an advantage thanks to Xbox. There's definitely truth to that. Like, if you're talking web streaming services, you're probably are going to be talking either Amazon streaming, maybe some Google streaming, and Microsoft streaming. Those are the big three. And as far as video game streaming in particular, Xbox probably has given them a lot of information to learn from. Does that mean that Microsoft is going to win the video game streaming war, if there is such a war that would ever exist or happen? Maybe, maybe not. Microsoft does have this capability to kind of ruin everything they try to do. They're just sometimes they're just not focused on things. Sometimes they just aren't good at doing things. And I'm still not anywhere close to being willing to saying that video game streaming is the future. Moving on. Next we have a game on Steam called Rebellion Again, which looks like a ugly, low-effort, real-time strategy game. It's just like really zoomed out, really mono-colored backgrounds with kind of the same colored rocks and the same colored trees. Just early access, $9.99. Yeah, right. Do that. And that. Next we have a game on Steam called VR Paper Star, which kind of ironically, Paper Star was one of the names of the bad guys in the Carmen Sandiego Netflix cartoon. As a bad girl character, she was, I guess, slightly interesting, but also it was hard in the one episode you saw her, one or two episodes maybe she showed up in. I think it was just one. It's kind of hard to grow to love a character because of that. I think you could have easily had just a couple like one bad guy villain for several episodes. Like honestly, I could have, yeah, I could have brought it up to like 27 episodes easily just by having one bad guy play out his entire story across 3 episodes, fighting against Carmen Sandiego. So we did enough there. So let's move over to the Asian account. Paper Star is kind of this young, psychotic, origami folding thief that she folds all these origami papers and throws them at Carmen Sandiego and tries to cut her and kill her. Which, yeah, you could do something with that. But so we have Battlecry, Paladin, or Druid. I don't want to do Druid. So now it's Battlecry, win 2 with Shaman, and Paladin. So let's go with Paladin play and see if we can do that. I might as well play ranked. As for this game, VR Paper Star, it's a VR game that's like Paperboy. And I think that might work. Like this, if this has enough polish, it's $19.99. I'll put it on the follow list. If I ever get a VR headset and this has enough reviews, I'll get it. More than likely, I will never get a VR headset, so it won't be an issue.
I will fight with honor.
And the truth is, I guess, compared the list of games that are if I ever got a Nintendo Wii U, or if I ever got a Nintendo Switch, or if I ever got an Xbox One, or if I ever got a PS4, like the list of games that are exclusives on those compared to the VR exclusives are much longer. Nintendo in particular, there's a good 5 to 10 years of Nintendo games I have not touched that I would like to go back and do. I don't know how I could ever justify it though, but I don't know. Like, there always is this point where I think to myself, maybe there's room in my life to make YouTube videos and criticize games, and also sometimes just play games for myself off screen. But honestly, I don't think I have enough time for that.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
Or enough energy or whatever. This guy's not playing. Alright, so we have this game on Steam called Edge of Eternity. It's rated very positively already. It's a JRPG. It seems kind of like a fantasy, maybe Monster Hunter-ish game. It's early access, $19.99. I think we can put this on the follow list and keep an eye on it. It's Palladius, so I recognize that publisher's name. Although to be fair, you do kind of run into that same issue where if I'm gonna play a JRPG, then why play this one, Edge of Eternity, when there's so many others to play? Next we have a game on Steam called Dragon View. This is from Infogames, and Pico Interactive. So this, knowing this publisher and knowing this developer, this is a really old game. That being said, Dragon View does not strike me as something I recognize, and so yeah, that looks pretty awful. I think I'll just put this off the list. $4.24. discounted. If you have nostalgia for Dragon View, I could see playing it.
Move quickly.
But if you don't, then kind of what's the point? Like, there's better games out there, more recognizable. Now this next game in particular is one I think I've seen before, so I don't know if this is a case of,
Speak your peace.
of them possibly trying to put it out on Steam and it getting rejected, or what. It's called Dark Hill Museum of Death. It seems to be a puzzle adventure game, but then it also seems like it also well, on first thought I thought it was actually gonna be an actual Museum of Death, because like this image here probably is a real historical image, and I guess that threw me. And these, so taking that away, taking my misinterpretation away, I think this is probably an asset flip kind of puzzle game, but I'll give it a chance. It might be more of an escape the room style game. I'll put it on the follow list. We'll see if anybody ever reviews it.
Reporting for duty. For justice.
Moving on, GameIndustry.biz. CI Games launches a United Label publishing business. The Sniper Ghost Warrior developer tells Game Industry Biz it aims to be one of the key indie publishers globally. This is a Poland-based firm known for Sniper Ghost Warrior and Lords of the Fallen, which I've kind of heard of those games, but I don't really know anything about them, like mobile games. +2/+2 and taunt. Can't do that yet.
Out of my jungle. Reporting for duty.
Let's do
The
this.
battle! The battle! For justice!
Welcome to my web.
Next, we have a game on Steam called Synthetic Arenas. SYNTHETIK. Looks like it's a top-down shooter. Doesn't look terrible, but again, just not my style of gameplay. That you'd have to do something really, really special to sell me on playing this. It's free to play with some upgrades. It doesn't have in-game purchases too, but it's single player with online co-op. Yeah, there's just really nothing here that interests me.
Ungoro belongs to the Titan. The battle!
There we go. Win streak bonus. So what were we doing? Still just playing Paladin cards, and I don't know if I actually have enough Paladin cards in my deck to get that done. Next we have a game on Steam called Red Wizard Island, which looks like a basic game, just not animated too well. Looks a little too close to MS Paint animation. early access for no reason, $3.99 for really no reason. Yep. Just gonna hold on to all those cards. Let's see, we already talked about that. Gamma Sutra has the same article. CI Games establishes United Label, new publishing label dedicated to indies.
The light dims, but we fight.
Let's see. Apparently they're coming out with a game called Roki, R-O-K-I, and the Eldest Souls in 2019, and Tales of Iron, and a game called Horae, H-O-R-A-E, both coming out in 2020. Let's see. Yeah, get that attack up. Gematsu has an article. Yakuza Kiwami for PC launches February 19th. The remake of the original Yakuza game. Let's see, it already has a Steam page. At this point, I don't really know a reason why I wouldn't have Yakuza on just a wish list. Maybe I should do a little bit of research there, but I don't think there's too much research to be done. Like, I should try at least Yakuza Kiwami, and then the other game that I always confuse it with, the two very Japanese beat 'em up brawler games, or at least that have beat 'em up brawler gameplay mechanics. So yeah, this is here, coming soon to PC. Like, I should at least try it. I wouldn't be surprised if I get bored with it and leave eventually. No pricing or anything is on the Steam page right now, so it's a little early for it to enter my wish list, but I think I might be willing to do that too.
Handle it!
Moving on. Somebody reviewed the missed 25th anniversary Kickstarter rewards, which were the physical rewards, which was a missed book that in some versions, if you paid enough, had a screen built into it, and then a pen and inkwell that represents the pen and inkwell that's kind of unique from the second game in the Mist series, Riven, which I don't think is really very iconic. The Mist book is much more iconic. And so they retweeted it and took some pictures of it to show what it looks like and how worn the book is designed to look like. Apparently the LCD electronics is kind of easily taken out.
I wonder.
Yep. It's kind of weird to read an article where somebody is reviewing just the physical rewards, but that is exactly what they're doing here. I really did want to get the Mist book with the screen, but the price point to support it on Kickstarter was not realistic for that. It seems like you could probably get it secondhand a few years from now, or make your own.
Blood and plunder.
Man, I'm yawning.
The light
I'm
protects.
just trying to wrap up today, and then we'll but I'm probably gonna go back to sleep. Next we have a game on Steam called Cibos and CIBOS. Immediately, I think this is a game that might get harassed for their choice of making aliens that are black in color with red lips. But ignoring that for a second, this seems like it's kind of more of just like a player versus player style game. I don't really see anything here that would be a single player component. And so this might be a troll game, it might not. It's discounted for $11.99 cents right now. Says single player, but I don't see anything here that makes this want to go to a fault list. See, it's the other guy that's taking their time, not me. It's always nice when it's the other guy's fault. Revolution Software is the UK-based company that made the Broken Sword series, and they tweeted out that they've got some jobs. The current vacancy for an animator, and I think a current vacancy for a game developer too. So that to me strikes, well, actually it kind of just says animator right now, but I could have sworn that they had said they also had a listing for a game developer. That's an indication that they're planning on making some other game, which is kind of nice to know. I mean, that being said, Broken Sword 5 was not the greatest game in my opinion, and frankly, after Broken Sword 2, all of those games started to fall apart. So I kind of have the feeling that that is just not a good it's just not the same company that made Broken Sword 1 and 2. That time has passed and people have changed and the game. Same could be said for like Double Fine, as Double Fine is soon to release the sequel to a beloved game that I can't remember the name of right now. Psychonauts, that's it. They're about to release Psychonauts 2. And honestly, I don't really trust them to release Psychonauts 2 and it be an actual good game. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called 1001 Jigsaws World Tour Great America. This is obviously somebody who's going to try and have a jigsaw collection of games. And in all honesty, it doesn't look like it's too terrible a jigsaw game idea. The puzzle pieces are in very low numbers, which is a bad thing, but clearly this is the exact same game just getting resold over and over again with either stolen or properly licensed stock images on top of it. $2.99 discounted. There's really nothing there that would make it justifiable to buy that game. Let's see, next we have a game on Steam called Dodge Dummy, which is just a Super Meat Boy style platformer that is running incredibly slow, and is animated extremely bad. 59 cents discounted.
Reporting for for duty.
Save ourselves some frustration.
Job's done.
Komatsu has an article. P-Cube will publish World End Syndrome both physically and digitally in Europe. North American releases are still digital only. World End Syndrome for the PS4 and Switch, apparently. Let's see. It's a visual novel. So, yeah. I honestly don't feel like visual novels need to break into the world of physical publishing outside of, well, anywhere, frankly, because it has always been a niche audience where it doesn't make a lot of sense that a visual novel would be on the shelf in a GameStop in some random city in the United States or in any country, frankly. That being said, the problem with Germany's index, as it's called, where they censor games and they can't be sold publicly, is the fact that, hey, if this game doesn't have an advertising budget and it's not legally allowed to be shown on the shelf to sell itself, that pretty much means no new customers. Like, everybody who's getting into digital only games are only getting into them via word of mouth, which that's kind of hard for a company to try to make a profit when it works that way. And that is in part, I think, why visual novels often play to a niche audience and go a little bit more extreme than you would normally see, is because their audience is already this built-in niche group of people that know about that style of product and want it. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Ultimate DAO, which I think stands for Dragon Age Origins Fix Pack, is one of modders' efforts to restore cut content. Let's see. So Dragon Age Origins is nearly 10 years old now, but it's definitely got an audience. The Ultimate DAO Fix Pack, originally released in 2010, the DAO Fix Pack was a massive patch mod that attempts to fix the entire game, including removing over 790 bugs found in the quest, scripting, plot, and dialogue of Dragon Age Origins. The mod also attempts to restore cut content from the game, most of which is believed to have been cut by BioWare due to time and budget constraints. Previously removed from Nexus mods, returned last year and received some more updates after that.
Fight with honor.
So, when I started reading this article, I thought it was restoring cut content in the sense that the content was out and available for people to see when the game originally released, and then it was cut in a patch later. But actually, this is content that never made it to release in the first place. Interesting. Well, BioWare, if they cared about Dragon Age Origins, which they probably should, like, it would have been probably really, really smart for them to put out a Dragon Age games instead of a Mass Effect game. They could have just hired people like this, and if it's nearly 10 years old, maybe they'll come out with a surprising 10-year anniversary version of the game that's like a special edition. That would be a good reason for me to go and try and play it, if it really is the kind of RPG I want to play. I know I played something that was either Dragon Age or something like that. I don't know if it was Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age Inquisition or something completely different. But there was a lot of fantasy games with dragons in the name. I believe Felicia Day is in one of the Dragon Age games, and she's weird because like she was trying to do this whole video game streaming thing, and then she kind of gave up on it, it feels like, or she moved to Twitch and I just didn't follow her. She was getting her like brother in there, and he wasn't too bad either. It was kind of cute to see two adult siblings play video games to each other. And of course Felicia Day was purportedly the person who created Geek and Sundry, but it turned out that was a complete and total lie, and I don't think she has any affiliation with it at all anymore. Also, her acting career doesn't seem like it's really goes anywhere. She gets roles here and there, and then that's pretty much it. Anytime you need a spunky redhead, you might hire her, but that's kind of it. I guess her biggest success would have been the Netflix Mystery Science Theater 3000, playing the new bad guy that sends the terrible movies. Moving on though, I'm kind of rambling.
There is little time.
Next we have a game that's all in Asian characters and looks pretty terrible. So I would say this is probably a cheap Chinese game. Nope, I was wrong. Cheap Japanese game. RPG of some sort. So yeah, there's not anything you can really say there. Can I play these?
To battle! To battle!
What a bore.
For justice! Little time.
Gamatsu has an article, robotics semicolon notes dash DASH latest trailer. This is another game I wanted to see the trailer on. Apparently this game is coming out for the PS4 and Switch January 31st in Japan. No talk of it coming to the West. So we're just gonna jump through this trailer and see what it is. It's tagged as a visual novel. Man, the visual novel, the range of names seems to be pretty high. And interesting, this game in the trailer is referencing Steins Gate. So I don't know if this is a spin-off like Steins Gate game. Yeah.
Uther versus Rexar.
Apparently this somehow related to Steins Gate, which makes it make a little bit be a little bit more relevant. Let's see. Just trade all these. Well, if it comes out to the West, I'll be interested. Gamatsu has a different article. Among the Sleep Enhanced Edition is coming to the Switch in 2019 with enhanced graphics, dialogue, and other significant improvements. First-person horror game Among the Sleep is on Steam. It came out in March 2014 according to this article, then PS4 December 2015 and Xbox One June 2016. So if the PC version got an update, or even if it didn't, I might be willing to play it. I need to do some research though and see if I already own it or not, because also it's probably not a game that's really worth buying special or spending extra money on
Repent.
to do that.
Job's done.
It's too niche of a game. I'd love to cover it, but also it just doesn't hit that it doesn't hit that relevance level to justify it in the budget. Right, I'm looking at this game. I'm trying to be careful because this one looks like it might go in a different direction.
Out of my jungle!
Repent.
To battle!
Job's done.
End of turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Blind Girl that looks creepy and weird, and I like creepy and weird. Looks like it's kind of an adventure game. I imagine this might be an Asian game, although I wouldn't inherently. That's kind of a wild guess. Yeah, this could be anything. $6.99. What languages? English only. So just for the animation style, you've got something pretty different here. I don't like that it's not widescreen, certainly. That's a problem. And this might be a very basic and kind of boring game that only takes like an hour to play. But I'm willing to put this on the follow list and see what happens. Alright.
Handle it!
That. Well, this next game is just called Pussy, P-U-S-S-Y, like Pussycat, although that's not what it is. This is, so far, the worst example I've seen of a game being allowed on Steam where the screenshots are just full-on straight nudity. It's a slide tile puzzle showing hardcore nudity, both lower and upper genitalia, and oddly it's kind of cutting off the heads and lower feet, so it is really just focusing in on that. And like every single screenshot here on Steam is this. It's tagged sexual content and nudity. It's 69 cents. It's not a game you really would want to buy, but yeah, it's crazy that you would have that the name wouldn't get flagged or looked at as kind of a low effort name, an offensive or slightly offensive term name.
I must move quickly.
It's crazy that the screenshots are clearly not getting looked at, or maybe they are getting looked at and that's getting approved. That would be the crazy part about this, is if it did come out that Steam just says we're not censoring anything, so even full-on nudity in the screenshots of games is acceptable, even when it is 100% sexually motivated. That would be very shocking, but I kind of don't agree with it. Like, even if you, like, I'm fairly certain even if you go to a porn shop and there's a entire collection of porn videos, back when I suppose these things would have existed, I doubt they exist too much these days, the covers of those videos were not explicit. And even if the covers were explicit, you would probably get some kind of like brown paper bag to carry it out of the store. Like, there's just too much opportunity for incidental oopsies, to quote PewDiePie. There's too much opportunity for oopsies here. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Lotus Minigames United Nations, which looks to be Uno, just by a different name, and it looks pretty terrible. Again, tabletop simulator. Why not get that instead? So yeah, that game's not making it to the fall list.
The light dims, but we fight.
I have about 10 more games, which I'm going to try and burn through. No, I could probably leave some of these for Wednesday too. Next we have a game on Steam called 10 Minions, which looks like it's a top-down strategy game of sorts. Looks pretty bad. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything visually here that's even consistent, let alone interesting. It's $2.39, so yeah, I'm not going to put that on the list. Here we have an interesting story on GameIndustry.biz. See, this guy's going to die anyway, so I'm going to hit this. And then end the turn. So this article says, developer uses DMCA to reclaim Steam page from publisher. Eximius. That was weird. I've never heard that. Never seen anybody play this card before. And that's an odd sound effect. That's way too loud. Anyways, Eximius, E-X-I-M-I-U-S creator, Ammo Box Studios says original publisher, the Game Wall Studios, quote, went off grid and neglected to make payments. Which, honestly, I think at this point, though, that also is a violation of the DMCA, because that is not what the DMCA is designed to be used for. The fact that it is so easy and there are so many incidences of people using the DMCA in ways it was completely not intended to be used for is ridiculous. Let's see. Ammo Box, the article says, Ammo Box may have broken new grounds in wielding the U.S. legislation. Earlier this month, the Malaysian studio invoked the DMCA to have its own game, Eximus Seas, the Frontlines, removed from sale on Steam.
Reporting for duty.
Which, yeah.
Reporting for duty.
Honestly, I don't even know if a Malaysian studio should be using the DMCA at all. Like, I'd have to think about that. But yeah, honestly, I don't think anybody should be using the DMCA. But it would be nice if we could say, hey, these people outside of the jurisdiction of the United States can't use the laws of the United States against people inside the jurisdiction of the United States. And that's kind of the problem with a lot of the free trade copyright agreements that happen worldwide, is that many people in many countries claim they own things they really don't, and want to copyright claim it in the United States and make money that way. Let's see. There's a quote here: legal action is in the process of being taken because the publisher went off grid and has not made any payment of the sale of the games to the developer. Which there very possibly is a contract in place where that would have been the agreement. it's not unheard of for publishers that want contracts where they get all of their money back first before the developer gets paid at all.
For justice.
But the fact that legal auction is in the process and then they're doing DMCA is not acceptable. They should have just stuck with legal action. And it's going to hurt their case in the long run, because if they leave it up, they can prove damages. The article goes on, as a result of the DMCA, the game was pulled from sale on Steam. Those who have already bought it will be able to continue to play the game, and the game was still updated by man, I hate that card. Eximus left early access in September. The DMCA request was announced January 9th. There's a quote here that says Steam has just assisted us in regaining control of Eximus from a fraudulent the Game Wall Studios, and I bet the Game Wall is going to come back and have a completely different story. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, that's an odd one. DMCAing your own game. In the end, it still just feels like an abuse of power. Power that should have never been allowed to be given in the first place. What's weird is at the bottom of this GameIndustry.biz article, they mention all the other times DMCAs have been abused, like or used, maybe not always abused, including PewDiePie and the Firewatch one.
Thrall versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine.
So yeah, that's a little clickbaity. Need to play a battle cry card, and we want to win. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Exceed A1000. This is like a Doom clone. I don't think I could ever convince myself to play a Doom clone. Like, honestly, like, I own the reboot of Doom and still haven't gotten around to playing that. So, yeah, I was going to... My plan was to make a brief video showing off the old Doom games and then jumping into the new Doom games in the similar way that I did Wolfenstein and just showed off, here's Wolfenstein 3D. Actually, I didn't show off Wolfenstein because that's an incredibly old game that nobody remembers or played. But yeah, Exceed A1000 is in early access for no reason. It's discounted to $5.39, which is really expensive. Yeah, that's just not going to make it to the fall list. Let's see. Random elemental.
The calm before the storm.
And in the turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Chucky, which looks like a Super Meat Boy platformer with limbo, blackness, and darkness, which is two things I would never really want mixed together. And let's see, there's really nothing here that looks interesting. Hey, not my style of game, and even if it was my style of game, I wouldn't want to play this. It's 69 cents discounted. Okay.
Here, Stormy, Stormy.
There we go. Next we have a game on Steam called Refill Your Roguelike, which, if this really is a roguelike game, it kind of feels like it's a game generator more than an actual just roguelike. but I kind of hate the animation, so creating your own characters in this animation style doesn't really interest me. It feels a lot like Spore, where you're creating your own enemies. Early access, free to play. I guess the price is right, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything there. Let's do this.
How long can this go on? How long can this go on?
See, next we have a game on Steam called Manipulator of Figure, which is just a physics game, obviously a low effort, simple physics game for 59 cents. Another one not making it forward. Let's see. Let's see.
The calm before the storm.
I don't have enough mana.
Next we have a game on Steam called Pashtet. Pashtet. Seems like a simplistic like clicker game. I guess maybe it's a it's probably a troll game for 59 cents. If I was to guess, yeah. This does just feel like it's a troll game. 7.
There is a method to my madness.
So we got about 5 more games. Next one we have is Santa in Search of Toys, which is a platformer. This is coming out January 19th. Obviously it missed its date, its time of release. It wanted to release in the Christmas holiday. Although at this point you might as well just wait till next year. This is $2.39 for a basic asset flip platformer. Nothing here looks interesting. Right. So this.
There is a method to my madness.
Next we have a game on Steam called Pull Ball, which is I guess a sort of billiard style puzzle thing. Seems a little random and probably not thought out, and the fact that the leaderboards are up the same screen tells me that this is one of these one-screen, simplistic, probably Unity games. 79 cents instead of 69 cents, discounted. Yeah.
By the elements combined!
12 health to your hero. Deal 6 damage to this. 3 damage to everybody.
Job done.
Good demons are hard to find.
Let's see. Next we have a game called Time Flow and Time and Money Simulator, which looks like it's actually animated a little bit better, but it's just a simulator game, and you can see it's already mixed results already, so it's just way too much text here. It kind of feels like the Game of Life, but with a twist on it. Early access for $4.19. Yep. And with that, we are done well enough with our daily quest. Let's see, we're about 2 hours in, so we didn't break it up. Let me just skip and leave these last few games and just cover the news. TechRaptor had an article. Valve sends out the 2017 Steam Award trophies. Wow. 2017, 2 years ago. So yeah, it took them forever to actually send out those awards, and I guess the question probably was probably that they maybe weren't ever planning on sending out actual physical awards, and then they decided to step up their game and send out some awards, or maybe they just hired the wrong trophy makers, which that's certainly doable. YouTube is also notorious for taking 6 months to a year to release, send out the diamond play buttons, so nobody gets them in any kind of reasonable amount of time. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Former Heroes of the Storm team files suit against the ex-owner for unpaid wages. 5X Naventic, NAVENTIC members filed a complaint in August, attempted to serve court documents 14 times before reaching owner James Ross Elliott II. Man, it took 14 times to serve the papers. That seems about right, actually. I mean, it's no way to live your life dodging court papers, but it certainly seems like something you can get away with in the United States. Alright, and I'm on the Humble Bundle store, and there's nothing new on Humble Bundle store, and I seriously doubt that there's anything new with anything else on Twitter, so that's like, in the past weekend there really hasn't been any new news. We're still in that January time where video games are certainly still happening. Borderlands episode 83, Borderlands 2 Game of the Year Edition episode 83 aired on my channel 2 hours ago. But that's probably close to the last episode. The Room 2 episode 11 aired on my channel a couple hours ago. 3 hours ago. Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's anything else. So, that's gonna be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.